Welcome to the Sleep Dives channel. We're going to dive right into Atul Gawande's The Checklist Manifesto to explore an idea that's so simple it's almost revolutionary. It's this. In a world that's getting more and more complex, a humble checklist can be one of our most powerful tools against failure. We'll look at how it saves lives, why on earth it works so well, and how you can apply this powerful thinking in your own life.
So let's just start with a number that should stop you in your tracks. 1,500. Just think about that for a second. That's how many lives were saved in Michigan's intensive care units over just 18 months. Now, the cause wasn't some new miracle drug or piece of high-tech machinery. Nope, it was a simple checklist. This one initiative also saved an estimated $175 million. It's just a staggering result that really forces us to ask, how is that even possible?
Now, what's really incredible here is just how fast things changed. This program was led by a physician named Peter Pronovost. He introduced a very basic checklist for doctors inserting central lines. We're talking simple things like washing hands and using sterile drapes. The result? Well, within the first 3 months, the infection rate plummeted by 66%. Michigan's ICUs went from having infection rates that were actually worse than average to outperforming 90% of all ICUs across the country. Just incredible. But here's the thing. The checklist wasn't just a memory aid. Its real power was that it gave the staff a voice. You see, Pronovost insisted that senior hospital executives had to visit the ICUs every single month. At first, you can imagine, they weren't thrilled. But during these visits, they discovered systemic problems that only they could solve. Staff would say they didn't have the right kind of soap, so the executives went and got it. They didn't have the right size drapes, so the executives made sure they were stocked. They even got a manufacturer to create a brand new all-in-one kit. So the checklist didn't just enforce the rules, it uncovered all the hidden reasons the rules weren't being followed in the first place. So you might be thinking, okay, that's one success story. But what happens in a situation where you have a ton of expertise, yet failure is constant? This quote just captures that frustration perfectly. It sets the stage for a new story, one where the old way of just telling highly skilled people to try harder was getting them absolutely nowhere.
All right, let's head over to a small community hospital in the Austrian Alps. They face this recurring tragedy. 3 to 5 times a year, they get a victim from an avalanche or drowning, frozen, no pulse, and despite having all the right specialists and all the right equipment, they never had a single survivor. A surgeon named Marcus Thalmann looked into it, and what he found was that the problem wasn't a lack of skill, it was a failure of preparation. Someone, or something, critical was always missing at the crucial moment. And the solution? Well, it was brilliant in its simplicity. Thalmann and his team didn't retrain the top surgeons. Instead, they created a simple checklist and gave it to the people with the least formal power, the rescue squads and the hospital's telephone operator. The rescue squad now had a specific code to call in. The operator then had a list of exactly who to page, making sure that the entire cardiac bypass and rewarming team was already assembled and waiting the very second the patient arrived. And then, not long after putting the checklist in place, they got the call. A 3-year-old girl had drowned in a pond. She was pulseless. But this time, everything was different. The call came in, the team was ready, and they took her straight to the operating room. From the moment she arrived, everything just moved like clockwork. They rewarmed her, her heart started beating again, and 2 days later, she was sitting up in bed, ready to go home. The first of what would be several rescues, all made possible by one simple list. So what's the big idea here? It's that checklists aren't just for novices. Far from it. Gawande calls them a cognitive net, and I love that phrase. It's like a safety net for your brain. It's a defense against the kinds of errors that even the most experienced experts can make. Because, let's face it, we all have flaws in our memory and attention, especially when the pressure is on. A checklist catches these basic human slips before they turn into disasters. Okay, so we've seen checklists work in 2 very different, very high-stakes situations. But why are they so effective? To really understand their power, we need a framework for thinking about the different kinds of problems we all face. Researchers have this really useful distinction. You've got simple problems like baking a cake from a mix. You just follow the recipe, you get a cake. Then you've got complicated problems like sending a rocket to the moon. It requires huge amounts of expertise and coordination, but it's repeatable. One rocket is pretty much like the next. But then there are complex problems, like raising a child. Every child is unique. Your experience helps, for sure, but it doesn't guarantee success with the next one. The outcome is always highly uncertain. And right here, this is the profound insight of the whole book. We don't use checklists to solve the entire complex problem of treating an ICU patient. We use them to handle the simple parts of that work, the mundane steps like washing hands or making sure the right team is called, that are absolutely critical for success. By automating the simple stuff, we free up our mental energy to focus on the truly complicated and complex challenges that really do require our judgment and expertise.
Now, this is all fascinating, but how do we bring this idea into our own work and our own lives? Let's break down how to actually put this into practice. First, think of a complex project you're working on. It could be a major presentation at work or even planning a big family trip. Next, identify that handful of simple, boring, but absolutely critical steps that could make everything fail if you forget them. Now, don't write a detailed instruction manual. Create a short list of stupid simple checks. Is the projector plugged in? Have I confirmed the flight times? The goal is to offload those mundane memory tasks so your brain can stay focused on what really matters, delivering a great presentation or handling the unexpected challenges of travel. Ultimately, the lesson from the Checklist Manifesto is really one of humility. It's an admission that no matter how expert we are, we're all fallible. By identifying those critical, simple steps and building a safety net to ensure they always get done, we don't just prevent dumb mistakes. We create the foundation for excellence and give our real expertise the space it needs to shine. So, what's on your checklist?